Hi, friends! We are so excited for you to be joining us this evening as we play Candela Obscura and raise funds for Palestine Children's Relief Fund. This is an amazing cause, so please, if you're able to, follow the link in chat that has now even been pinned in chat to donate on our Tiltify. PCRF is currently focusing on providing immediate relief, including providing essential medical supplies, food, medical treatment, clean water, and other necessities for families affected in Palestine by the current genocide. So again, if you're able to, please, please, please support them. For every $10 that you do donate, you get entered in to win a $25 gift card to Talent and Claw. They make some really cool dice accessories like this amazing moth dice box, dice vault, as well as some really other cool things on their site. When you donate to our Tiltify, for every $10 you donate, you can gift any person on this screen, not including Josh because he's our GM, a
If you
reroll.
wanted to,
No,
you
no, no,
could.
no. Because at $35 in a donation, only Josh gets this one. You can help make the creature more menacing. Ew, gross. Who wants to do not this guy, that's for sure. Instead, consider donating $2 or 2 times 25 for giving us 2 automatic successes. Doesn't that sound nice? And finally, with a $50 donation, you can make some stray magic happen, which you can tell us if you want to help or hinder the party. So again, if you're able to donate, please do so. I do want to give a big shout out to Dylan for kicking us off with our first $100 donation, as well as a thank you to Bogus Cheesecake, who is our matching gift sponsor for our next $100 donated. So get those donations coming in. With that being said, friends, my name is Jess. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and today I am playing E, whose pronouns are also they, them, theirs, and I am going to popcorn it over to Angie.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Angie. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I will be playing Una Cordova tonight. Pronouns she, her. And I'm gonna popcorn over to Sphinx.
Oh dear. Hi there. I am Sphinx Akasha. I am playing Mercutio Arden, but you can call me Mercy. I go by he, him pronouns. And I'm going to popcorn it over to Fer.
Hi, I'm Farron or Fair.
Sorry.
Pronouns she, her. No, it's both are fine. Both are acceptable. You're perfectly fine. I'm playing. Oh my God, what is my character's name? Karis. No last name because I didn't think of one. Pronouns are also she, her. And I'll popcorn over to Dylan.
Hi, that's me. I'm Dylan H. Ford. My pronouns are he, they. I will be playing Montgomery. That is one name, no first name, just Montgomery. And his pronouns are also he, they. And I guess I'll popcorn over to Josh, our wonderful GM.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for going on this mysterious adventure with us. I'm Josh Simons. I'm the community manager at Demiplane, he, him pronouns, and I'm playing everybody else. So as we get started, I wanted to just very quickly give a 30-second overview of Candela Obscura and the world that we're about to hop into. If this is your first time watching a Candela Obscura stream or the first time playing Candela Obscura, that way we're kind of all just on the same page. What's the vibe? And that'll also kind of help just everyone set our expectations as we slip into the game. So if you're not familiar, Candela Obscura is a top secret organization that is working to protect the general populace in this city called New Fair from these otherworldly threats. And there are different kinds of threats. There's magic, that's real. We'll get a lot of magic in this game, I think, knowing our characters. But there is also this thing called the Veil, which is a barrier that divides our world from others. And there are places where the veil is thin and creatures terrifying, supernatural, otherworldly beings that defy comprehension can slip through those places where the veil is weakest. You'll hear us talk about this thing called bleed, which is the negative effects of otherworldly magic in our world. Think of it kind of like Superman's kryptonite. If you are exposed to a little bit of it for a long time, that's bad. If you're exposed to a lot of it in a very short amount of time, it could kill you. So with that, let's go ahead, take a deep breath, and dive into Candela Obscura. The wind whistles down a cobblestone street as the sun sets on a crisp winter evening. Inside the buildings here in the Varnish, the bustling downtown of New Fair, there are all kinds of shows and events taking place. There's theatrical productions, jazz clubs, lounges, all kinds of activities to entertain the populace in the evenings. And in one such venue, the camera pans to reveal an entertainer, a man with a top hat and a bright red cloak over his shoulders as he produces magical tricks. These are not the type of magic one needs to be concerned about, but illusions, sleight of hand, showmanship. And as he is going about his show, the camera kind of zooms in on his face. And there is a brief instant where he looks out over the crowd and his eyes go wide. And then he blinks and seems as though whatever he had seen must have been an illusion of the light. He shakes his head and continues on with his performance. And as his performance ends, to standing ovation, raucous applause, and cheering as the people of New Fair have once again been entertained by the famous performing magician, known across the entire countryside. His name, of course, is Donald Mathers. And as he bows to this incredible audience, nobody hears in the back of the theater a woman scream for just an instant before it is cut short and the camera fades to black. We pick up at the local bakery called the Little Priest Bakery, where our circle members, representatives of Candela Obscura, who operate mostly here in the Varnish, but sometimes in the surrounding neighborhoods of New Fair, they are gathered around a table in the back, having recently just received a very urgent summons. Why don't we let the camera pan around the table and get a quick glimpse at who each of our characters are right now. Perhaps we'll do it in order of appearance as you walked into the bakery after receiving the summons. Who do you think would have shown up first after getting a missive handed to you by a gentleman in a trench coat with a hat and gloves, trying to stay warm in the cold? He showed up to your door, handed you a note, just a folded up piece of paper from someone you would know and recognize, your lightkeeper, Charlie. It says, urgent meeting, come to the bakery. Who do you think would show up first?
I'll go.
All right.
I think that after receiving the missive, Montgomery would think to himself, man, I really need to get one of those top hats. I just have this little bowler hat. It's just insufficient. And he would arrive first at the Little Priest Bakery. He looks fairly haggard. He has fingerless gloves. He has a sort of beaten ratty shirt and a vest over it with far too many pockets. It's more like somebody stitched a group of pockets together in the shape of a button-up vest, and kind of a large billowy overcoat over that. Very colorful, very patchwork, very asymmetrical, that kind of thing. Scruffy hair, facial hair, and is curious as to why on earth they are the first person to arrive.
You arrive and are welcomed in. The staff here, of course, they know you. You operate out of this place. Candela has a deal with them, and you are ushered to the back room to await the others. Who shows up next?
I'll go next. You see walking into the bakery, very kind of tall, about 6'1", 6'2"-ish, slender, not quite haggard, but definitely kind of disheveled, but almost looks like it was done so on purpose. And dark clothing, dark shirt, dark waistcoat, dark kind of pinstriped pants, boots, a kind of light overcoat, glasses, hair, long dreads tied back in kind of a very kind of messy ponytail. And he kind of walks with kind of an awkward swagger. It's definitely trying to be cool, failing terribly. As Mercutio, aka Mercy, walks in, kind of waves, kind of stares at the baked goods, and quickly fumbles around, pulls out a couple of coins, and points to one of the crawlers. Please. And hands the cashier the money. Thank you. And we'll walk into the back room where he thinks everyone else is waiting for him.
I'll go
And-
next. Oh,
Great.
Okay, so next you see E walk in. They're a pretty androgynous looking person. They have definitely attempted to put together a nice outfit today that no bakery shop would dare get baked goods on. They've got a nice suit jacket that has an open chest shirt. They've got nice tailored pants on, pretty a grout fit, if you will. I'm trying to mirror them today, maybe not 100%. They look much nicer than I, but they'll walk up to the counter, similar to Mercy, and ask for powdered donut holes that they immediately just make a mess all over their nice gray suit, and just kind of waltz in oops, I did that.
If Karis isn't last, she's definitely next to last. She comes in wearing just a a gothic Victorian dress, looking out of something out of friggin' Dracula. Hair pulled back into a neat at first glance, but then you notice some of it's starting to come down, she's been working all day, or maybe just being dramatic all day. With just a giant carpet bag full of crap she always carries with her. It's like clanging inside there. There's like bottles jingling around in there and stuff. And she comes in looking a little harried. Asks for like a pot of tea to be brought back to the room, and like just a plate of scones and other baked goods, and just hurries back there, thinking that she's late, and then she realizes, almost disappointed that she's not the last person because she wanted to be last.
And Una being the last one, as Una walks into the bakery, she's holding a parasol that she shuts off, this black parasol, and she's dressed in what our timeline would seem to know as out of fashion, but trying to make it seem like it's in fashion. She looks a little bit sallow, has this messy flow of dark hair, but she still has this sort of like unsettling smile on her face, carries herself with this very unsettling air of grace. Doesn't order anything, but does give a little wave to the attendants and the bakers, and does see the way that they kind of recoil at her sight, and she just laughs to herself and walks into the back room.
Okay. Once you were all gathered, you have a moment to take a deep breath, especially if you moved here quickly, ran. You might need to catch your breath. Grab a bite of the various pastries that you have purchased. Your tea does show up, and as your tea arrives to the table, so too does your lightkeeper, the kind of head of your circle, who acts as your, call it like a coach. They don't go on the missions with you, but they serve as intel for you and your connection to all of the other Candela Obscura circles that operate anywhere else in the world, not just in New Fair. They are kind of the middle managers of Candela Obscura, so to speak. And of course, your lightkeeper is Charlie. You recognize her as a woman in her 50s with kind of short-cut hair. She's dressed well this evening, but definitely looks as if she has had a long day, has been out and about, and probably has not slept in some time. And so as she enters in, she actually points at the tea that's been brought in and says, "Oh, I'll have one of those as well." And the staff from the bakery kind of nods and goes out to fetch another cup as she turns to you all and addresses you, saying, "Well, I'm glad that you could all make it on such short notice. We've gotten a tip this evening. Not that we would have needed it, because I was one of the first ones on the scene myself and knew immediately that this is something that requires more than just my skills and expertise. But we've gotten a tip from one of our sources at the periphery. And out of game comment, the periphery is the local military turned police force. They're known for being very susceptible to corruption and generally not getting along very well with Candela Obscura, as the two of you are often trying to investigate the same leads, but for very different purposes. So this is something that perhaps immediately stands out to you. And she says, "We got a tip from someone on the inside, from the periphery. There was a report at a magic show in town, just 2 blocks away from here, which is why we've called you in. Donald Mathers, are you familiar with the magician? He does traveling shows and performances across the countryside. Anyways, he's in town for a week or two doing gigs here at a local theater. It's the Red Rabbit Theater. It's just 2 blocks up that way. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. During his performance this evening, a woman was killed. And normally, if it was just, a murder, we would let the periphery handle it. But the reason that the periphery has reached out to us is when they discovered that not just a woman was missing, but had been killed, they went to check her box seat at the theater, and all they found were her bones, picked completely clean, and a few of her personal effects. Now, the periphery is sending people right away, but we got the call, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you rush over there, you've probably got 10 to 15 minutes before their detectives are on the scene, which means you'll have a chance to look at the evidence before it gets all messed with and bagged and taken off to their headquarters. So, any questions before you get started?
No questions, just a statement that when Charlie first said Donald Mathers, E's first thought was that the magician was the one killed. And so when she says that someone else has been killed, you just see the biggest sigh of relief go across E's face.
Kind of, I think probably at the same time, Karis is thinking, oh, well, was that woman, did she die of boredom? Because his show, he's such a hack.
Meanwhile, in Montgomery's head, it's like, son of a bitch stole my act.
I think Una would be the first one to speak after when questions are asked, and her immediate question is, are there any details on how the bones were cleaned?
Yes, I was going to ask very much the same question.
So, yes, I stopped by on my way in just to get a quick once-over. It looks to me like they were tooth marks on the bones, which makes me think this is some sort of creature.
Mercy pulls out a small notepad and is taking notes. Fascinating.
Interesting. I've learned that crabs are very efficient at cleaning bones from little research here and there.
We're not currently aware of any phenomena that appear like crabs, but this could be the first.
Little bite marks. Interesting. I'm so excited. Is anyone else excited to see what more there is to discover?
Yes, particularly if there are some kind of supernatural crabs out there. That could be very fascinating.
He's just continuing to write notes.
They're very delicious.
Everyone in the circle would know that Una is a little weird when it comes to new monsters or creatures that they have not heard about before.
I mean, we truly could have stopped that, would know that Una's a little weird, and then stopped right there.
Okay, you guys, we gotta keep it together. All of our pronunciations have to be correct. Everything.
I swear I've been practicing.
No, I'm not pointing any fingers. My hands are up.
Well, luckily we're not going to be dealing with any rituals, it seems. Hopefully.
Oh, well, now you've put it out in the universe. Of course we're going to deal with a ritual.
It would be a very fun turn of events, wouldn't it?
No, it would not.
I don't know if fun would be the word I would use.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Yes,
I'm
actually.
Say that now.
On that point about rituals and past things, I would like to be very clear here that all you have to do for the time being is discover what it is that's killed this woman. And if you can track it and stop it, great. But primarily, we are looking for information, and anything you can collect and gather and bring back for us to have more information is that's priority number one. Priority number two is stop it. And priority number three is don't make it worse than it would be if you didn't interfere.
You mean again?
Candela Obscura is understanding that sometimes situations get out of hand, but we would prefer to keep the damage to a minimum if possible.
Indeed.
Maybe Candela Obscura should have better lessons and classes on ancient Greek.
I will make a note that we should invest in tutoring on extinct languages.
Yes.
Okay, does anyone want a snack before we leave? As I like
could go for
dust
another pastry.
the usual.
The snacks that I got, I just immediately put into my bag.
I'll bite. And then just goes grab whatever like cookie. I feel like Una eats shortbread cookies. Just plain shortbread cookies. No tea, no coffee. It's just super dry. It's like, do you want anything with that? No. Just eats it.
Just like, God, I bet she eats Popeye's biscuit with no drink too.
Seems
Oh my god.
unappetizing.
I'm gonna keep it inside. I gotta stay in character.
Mercy goes and grabs like a sticky bun and a cup of tea.
All right. And is there anything else that you want to do before you head over to the theater?
I
Alright.
read the bakery person's palm.
Okay. All right.
Do we have? As Mercy sees that, do we have time for? Never mind.
So, for my benefit and for the audience's benefit, as you read this bakery, staff member's palm, are you attempting to actually, use supernatural gifts in order to learn something about them, or are you doing parlor tricks and?
Oh yeah, no,
mostly
this
deceiving?
this is totally a scam.
Okay. In that case, go ahead and make a sway roll for me, and then tell me
Okay.
whatever it is you want to read to them.
Okay, as soon as I remember how to do this. Oh, here we go. I have to take the lowest, right? I got a 4. If that's the
Is
case.
this something that you don't have any dots in?
No.
Okay, then yes, you would
I got
take
a
the
4
lower of the
I got
two.
a 4 to
rolls.
5 on my die, so I got a
They're
4.
both mixed successes. It doesn't make a huge difference. So on a 4, you are able to, successfully convince them. But there's, you see, there's a couple of the other staff members. They kind of give you a look. Like they're a little suspicious of you, right? Like, the head baker in the back is like,
Aren't your donuts burning?
and eventually you have convinced this person, whatever that you're reading for them is, they are convinced. But you got a couple of raised eyebrows off of this one. And then you continue out the door and down the street to the Red Rabbit Theater. As you approach, you do see there are a couple of periphery officers who kind of cordoned the area off. I see the note that we've got 2 stray magics to help the party. Let's use those once we get into this next scene, as we're kind of transitioning from one scene to the next, and we'll let them both happen as we get started. So as we show up at the Red Rabbit Inn, like I said, there's some periphery members who kind of set up outside, keeping passersby away. There are 1 or 2 people clearly giving statements. There's enough going on. You might be able to try to sneak in. You could also, try a different tactic. So how are you trying to get into the theater?
Is there a entrance, like not a backdoor entrance, but kind of like most theaters have like that sort of side entrance for the performers and
Yes.
backstage? So is there any people or anything in that area currently?
Go ahead and give me, this is a low stakes, but give me a survey roll.
Survey. Oh, I have 1 in that. I have like 1 colored in thing. So I roll just 1 die?
Yes, 1d6, or you can use the built-in dice roller.
Cool. That's a 2.
That is a 2. So from this angle, you can't really get a good look at where the stage door is. You know it's there, but you would have to like kind of backtrack and go around a building and around the block in order to get a good line of sight at it. But as you look and are kind of trying to take it in, one of the periphery officers who's standing around the front kind of notices you looking and walks over and approaches and just says, apologies, everyone. You're going to need to keep moving here. This is official periphery business. Go about your business. And kind of tries to start to usher you in a different direction.
Are there any like street urchins or anything like that nearby?
We'll say that, yeah, there's a nearby alley where you could absolutely find a few people who are hanging out.
Cool. I would like to walk up to them and like pull out like a few coins. I'm like, hey, these go to whoever can get those periphery folk out of our way. And kind of like jingles them in front of them.
Okay, yeah. There's a group of 3. They kind of look like ranging from like teenage to early adulthood, but 3 guys who are sitting around. Clearly, they are not very financially well off. You're actually probably surprised to find them here at this time of day instead of in their. There tends to be a lot of these types of folks. There's some really great, what's the word I'm looking for? Like food pantries and places where that are just free for anyone to go to in the South Soffit. It's kind of across the river from here, but that tends to be where a lot of folks who are homeless would go, because they can go and get a free meal and have a roof over their head for the night. But you see a couple of these boys are hanging out, kind of ragged clothing, a couple of, like they've got facial hair coming in, maybe not like all the way yet, so it looks kind of patchy. And one of them just kind of looks up and goes, all right, mister, but you've got to give us the coins first.
Not a problem. And he'll hand the coins over. And if you come around a little priest later, I'll get you sorted with some pastries or something.
Yeah, that's the bakery two blocks down, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks. And, the boy takes it and pockets it and says, well, come on, boys, let's go. And the 3 of them kind of come out into the street and start approaching this scene where Una and the periphery officer are just kind of starting to have a conversation. And the one of them starts to run directly at the periphery officer. And then at the last minute turns and swings on one of his compatriots, and they start a fist fight in the middle of the
Yeah.
street, clearly pushing one of them into the periphery officer. And with this sudden commotion, 2 or 3 other periphery officers start going, "Oh, hey, hold up, you got to stop that," and run over and try to intervene. And there's a brief scuffle, which gives you all an opportunity to get out of the way if you want to.
Yeah,
That's what
Mercy
we
just like walks up very quickly. Okay, this might be a great time. Okay.
While they're
continues-
scuffling,
Yep.
I'm shuffling inside.
That's one way to handle it.
All right. And as the group of you make your way into the door, there are, you can see, a couple of people standing about inside, a couple of employees, who are still kind of wearing, the telltale like vests and name tags. Like they clearly work here, some ushers. But everyone seems, one, a little bit shaken, right? Like you can just kind of see that like, almost like a look of shell shock from the employees here, but then also too, they are just very like jumpy. So as the doors open and you come in, like you notice one kind of older gentleman who seems to just be sitting down waiting for something. As you enter, he kind of goes, "Oh, I thought it was something else," and kind of shuffles over a couple of seats as you enter and make your way, presumably, into the theater.
Have you all thought about how they said they found her in a box seat, correct? That means that she probably had money of some sort.
Or she
Maybe?
knew someone who had money.
That is
Yes.
that is a fair assessment.
Curious to know. Sometimes the upper crust do make enemies, don't they?
I mean, I would say most everybody underneath them are their enemies.
Oh, quite right. Yes.
Hmm.
Still curious about what creature could have picked Bones clean so quickly.
Indeed. It is troubling.
Did we get the exact place that the bones were found? from
You
Charlie?
know that they're in a box seat. You didn't get like a box number, but you would be able to make your way there fairly quickly. There's a handful of box seats in kind of this upper level, but it's not that hard to navigate to that area and find them. As you do make your way in, you spot there is one additional periphery officer who's kind of just standing. You see a few feet away, actually, from this particular set of box seats. But he's got a notepad out and is making some notes. Actually, it looks like he's maybe sketching the crime scene, and so he doesn't notice you as you approach. But as you walk up, you do see there is kind of behind a curtain. It looks like 4 seats in one section, and you see there's a purse that's sat on a chair, a pair of heels that seems to be broken, like the heels are snapped off, lying on the ground, and you see next to it not a human skeleton per se. Many of the bones have been rearranged into more of a pile, but there isn't much of a smell because there's not much that isn't bone here.
I am going to just go immediately to the purse and start kind of rifling through it, looking over, like putting my body in front of it so the person drawing doesn't see, but I'm looking for an ID that might have an address, maybe like a worker's ID, anything to give us a sense of who this person is.
Sure. Well, as you step up and approach, and begin to step into the scene of the crime, so to speak, the periphery officer actually stops what he's doing and says, "Oh, hold up. Apologies. This is a crime scene, actually. You can't do that."
It's okay. We're supposed to be here.
Well,
That's
not so. Who are you with?
We're with the periphery. We're inspectors. We're the forward company.
I would like for you to make a
No.
sway roll for me. This is going to be medium stakes. So, this isn't a life or death scenario, but should you fail here, someone will know very clearly that you're not supposed to be here and probably try to, usher you out or keep you away from the crime scene.
Hopefully.
Josh, how much BS would it be if one of the items that we had for the gear, because I know with the way that Candela works, you can kind of call out an item before.
Yes.
So how much BS would it be if, because we've worked together before and we kind of know the idea of how the periphery works, what if we have some documentation that we just kind of pull out and it's like, yeah, here you go, and it's like a quick flash.
So I'm fine if you want that to be one of your pieces of gear. What I do need you to tell me is, one, is this like actual real documentation or is this a forgery? And two, if it's real, how did you get it?
Yeah,
Before you declare that, I would like to just forewarn that, number one, I'm maxed out sway. I'm the face. This
Go
is my
ahead.
job. Speaking of which, I rolled a 5 and a 6.
All right. Okay, so with that 6, that's a full success. Everything that you want to happen happens here, and so the guy looks at you for a minute, goes, "Yeah, okay, all right. So as you can see here, this is well, I would say the murder scene, but I've never known a person to murder someone else by devouring them entirely. That seems,
You just don't know the weird ones then.
what?
Do you think maybe they had a bone to pick?
Well, I hate to be that guy, but I really don't find that
Gross.
funny. Anyways, yeah. So I'm just making a quick sketch here before the OUP gets here, and then my captain is outside trying to keep pedestrians away. So I'll just let him know that you swung by when I talk to him next. Do you
Sure,
see
let me
stuff like
see.
this often?
More than you'd think. Can I see that sketch?
Oh, sure, yeah. And he kind of turns his pad of paper around, and you see, I mean, it's kind of a charcoal sketch, and he's not like a masterful artist, but it's a fairly functional sketch. It's got the general layout of the box, the stage in the background, but kind of shows the pile of bones and the stuff there. And it just seems to be just generally for record keeping, but there doesn't seem to be anything on the piece of paper that's been sketched that you can't see immediately in front of you. But it's not bad. Line work is kind of hard with charcoal, but he's done a good job.
He needs an art tutor like we need a Greek tutor. It's fine. I'm going
I'm
to then...
mainly trying to like keep this guy's focus away from everyone else so they can like be thorough and not be interrupted by this guy like lean over the shoulder. So
And
I'm just kind of like
also-
maneuvering him that way.
And also not go tell the captain that we're here.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm,
go ahead, Sphinx.
I'd like to like get as close to the bones as I can, and rather than like focus on the bones, I'd like to kind of see if I can sense if there's any like entities or anything like that around that maybe either shouldn't be or maybe should be. Maybe they're ghosts that regularly haunt the place that I might be able to converse with.
Yes. Great. We're going to say simultaneously while you're doing that, E, I know you wanted to look in the purse, so I'll say you can make a focus roll for me while you're doing that. And then for Mercy, how are you, so describe to me what it is or how it is that you're trying to get this sense. Are you using an ability? Do you have a piece of gear that helps you, or are you just generally like being kind of attuned to magical phenomena, just making
more of
a
the like
sense
actually attuning to the magical
Okay.
phenomenon and trying to sense what's there.
Great. Then go ahead and give me a sense roll. And as you make that roll, just you have the results of that focus roll.
I rolled a 3.
You rolled a 3. Okay, as you look through, I mean, you find some basic stuff. There's a wallet with some money. You do find an ID, but it seems like in whatever happened here, a lot of the contents of the purse, as you get closer and actually look, you actually see that some of it has like spilled out, and so it's kind of under seats, and so you find an ID. You know that the woman's name was Madeline Armitage, but you can't find much else identifying about her aside from a little bit of money, a thing of lipstick, her gloves, things like that.
When we're talking about the lipstick and about the gloves, to Una's point earlier, do they seem to be from a more wealthy woman? Or
She's got money.
Okay, cool. So when I find that, I'll say, it sounds like Una was right. She has money, and her name is Madeline Armitage. Ring a bell? No bells.
Does that ring a bell to any of us?
I would gladly let anyone who wants to make a focus roll to try and remember if they have heard anything about a Madeline Armitage before. While you're doing that, Mercy, what was the result of that sense roll?
So here comes a question.
Yes.
Since I have 2 dots in sense, that's 2 dice, right?
Yeah, you rolled 2 dice.
Am I adding the results, or am I just using the highest one?
Just the highest number that you rolled. And if you have a gilded die, you would replace one of your dice with a gilded die. Not that you've burned drives to get them back at this point, but just as a kind of point of order.
Gotcha. But I got a 5.
A 5. Well, that's a mixed success. So you do, as you take a moment and sit and sense while everyone else is kind of thinking about this, after he looked through the purse, you, I would say, get one kind of like key piece of information. There is definitely an otherworldly presence tied to this very strongly. You can tell that some creature that is not of this world did this.
Are they still
As
there?
nothing nearby. You get like residue, like sense that there was something, but there's no active presence.
Gotcha.
As you are taking a moment and doing this and effectively kind of opening yourself up and letting in the presence of otherworldly things around you, I do need you to mark a bleed.
Oh.
As you, in this moment, I would say perhaps while doing this and sensing, you touch very briefly one of the bones. And as you do, you get almost like a vision. Where you feel a sense of fear, but it's not just like let me rewind that. You get like a sense of like surprise, like startled surprise that turns into fear, almost as if she saw something and it was what she expected, and then it was not what she expected. There's not a visual with this, aside from just this sense of hunger, of ravenous hunger. In fact, we'll even say that that's how perhaps you experience the bleed as it hits, is this like pang of hunger in your stomach, where it feels almost like it's eating itself for a moment, as you open your eyes and come out of this, we'll say meditation, and you realize that it has taken some effect on you. It's left its mark on you, so to speak.
Before... Oh, go ahead, Farron.
No, why don't you resolve your roles first, and then I'll go to what I want to do. Or ask.
Great.
I did get a 6 on Lady Armitage.
Excellent.
With focus.
Excellent. Did anyone make that roll as well, or was it just...
Oh, I got double ones. I don't know anything.
Okay. Okay. You think about it and then like have some ADHD brain moment and go, oh, actually.
100%.
Okay. So then Una, I'll say you actually you recall recently seeing a headline about this woman. Madeline Armitage is a very wealthy widow in town. Her husband was a politician, and passed away of what they thought was some mystery illness, probably about 6 months ago. And since then, she's kept a very low profile. But previously, they were, out and about. You could see pictures of them in the newspaper. They were well known in certain social circles in the city.
Una will share this with the group. I feel like this would also happen in between the time that Mercy is having that thing, and Una just out loud, wouldn't it be really, really ironic if this was some sort of illusory bait and switch where bones were placed here and then something else happened and she was removed?
I had the exact same thought. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I had the exact same.
How funny would that have been? Because she was here at an illusory show, and then that's probably when like Mercy comes back and like tells us that, like, no, there's actually something much more sinister.
Something was here. Something hungry. Something that made her very, very surprised and then very, very afraid. And it was very, very painfully hungry.
Are you okay?
I will be.
Are you hungry?
A little.
Whip out some of the snacks that I brought. They're powdered. They're gonna get you messy. Well, actually, here, napkin donuts.
Thanks. And he tries to like move away from the crime scene so as not to contaminate it at all.
Yeah, this crime scene's already fully contaminated. We're just stepping all over the
Yeah.
place. I have a
Like,
question.
eating
Yeah, what's up
I have
there?
a question, not about the crime scene necessarily, but about the person who was in the lobby when we came in.
Yeah.
Did they say,
Mm.
"Oh, I thought you were someone else," or "I thought you were something else"?
You heard him say
Hmm.
something else.
Okay.
Mm.
I think while everybody's investigating the crime scene, I actually want to talk to him.
Okay.
Nice catch.
Legit.
Yeah, I've been like hyper focused on that this whole time. That's why I've been so quiet. So I think Karis woke up and was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. What were you expecting to show up here?"
Oh, well, I don't even know that I could tell you what I expected. It just seems like there's well, this woman dying, it just all seems so ominous and I don't know what I expected, to be quite frank, but I know that anything that would do something like that to a person has to be a monster. Maybe not literally, but, you know, I don't think monsters are real, but a monster.
Now, just quick, were you here when it happened?
Well, I was working the concession stand over there, and he kind of points, and you do, in fact, see there's a concession stand over there. All, you know, shut down now. Windows
Yeah.
are kind of covered up, but it would be right here in the lobby.
And so you kind of saw the aftermath, like everybody leaving, some of the periphery coming in. Did you notice anything strange today?
It seemed like, well, I don't know if it's strange. It seemed like there was a lot of uneasiness in the crowd today. Like there was normally, right? You're sitting in seats. People tend to stay put during a show, especially, you know, I mean, Mr. Mathers is a fine magician and he puts on a fine show. Most people tend to, you know, enjoy it and leave it at that. But there were a lot of people coming in and out. Well, one young lady, it was like right at the start of the show. It struck me as so odd. She ran out of the theater, left entirely. It's costs good money to see a show like this. She ran out 10 minutes in.
Does she seem upset, scared?
Distraught, I would say. I didn't follow up. I was, you know, working the concession stand, but it seemed like she was, you know, in tears and running. At the time, I thought perhaps, you know, it was just like an argument with a partner or something, but it's just an unusual energy today.
And how long ago was that? Did you see her before or after the scream?
It's an hour-long show. That would have been about 10 minutes in. So we only barely heard the scream out here because we don't have, you know, the benefit of the you know, amplification of the voice from the theater. Which is, of course, when we went and ran in and discovered the remains, but it would have been at least probably 45 minutes.
Okay. Huh. Is anything else? Do you know? Are you familiar with the victim?
I mean, Miss Armitage attends shows every now and then. Her husband, she and her husband were season ticket holders for many years. We're not, friends, but whenever they come, I give them their order and they go to their booth. It's a fairly common interaction.
Yeah. And she seems fine today?
Yes, didn't notice anything unusual. Not particularly, at least.
One more question, unless you can think of anything else to tell me. The woman who ran out, do you know, has she been here before? Did you recognize her?
I had not recognized her. Well, it's possible she's been here before, but I didn't recognize the face.
Okay. Well, I kind of reach into my giant bag and pull out impossibly pull out a card with my contact information. I'm like, well, if you think of anything, you can reach me here at this number, or you can come to this address, just the bakery down the way. And if you remember anything, you can drop by and just give them the information.
Oh, sure, of course. Well, we can do. Thank you. Be careful out there. Whatever did that, if it's still around, I should hate to think that it, gets more victims tonight.
You do the same.
I will.
Yeah. And one final thing, I would like to do a read on him just to make sure, I think everything he said to me was copacetic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and give me that read check. It's low stakes.
I got a 3.
A 3. So you don't feel like he lied to you per se, but you can tell that he's very nervous, and definitely, like I said earlier, it seems like shaken, very, very shaken by what he's experienced tonight. And so it's not that you think he, intentionally misled you, but you can't help but feel like some of the information he gave you might be filtered through that, intense emotions he's feeling, or coming down after those intense emotions. It could make his recollection of events not quite clear, or cause him to forget key details.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I will sort of leave him to his thoughts and let him calm down without prodding him for more information, and then go back to the group and share everything that I got, all the information that I got.
Great. I'll actually say, as you leave the lobby and start to head back, you do see outside the doors several carriages with more periphery members pulling up. And so they haven't spotted you inside yet, but you act as the eyes and ears to say, oh, hey, maybe our time at the crime scene, unbothered, is about to come to an end. So as you return to the group, you can pass that information along as well. But while that was going on, just want to double check, was there anything else that anyone wants to do before you are potentially, needing to leave quickly?
Can Una grab the shoes?
Sure.
And are the heels anywhere in the room?
Yes. So you do one of them. It's not snapped clean off, but it's snapped and hanging by just a little bit of something. The other, bottom of the heel, is still in the area, but it is kind of several feet away. But you're able to gather the shoes and the broken off heels, if you'd like as well.
Yeah, I think Una thought process is that a woman of wealth would buy some fairly well-made shoes. For them to break like this, there's probably some certain amount of force that was used for something like that. So looking at the way, like, would Una maybe like think, oh, this could have been broken because of the way that, like, maybe it doesn't seem like she was running anywhere, and it seems like a very specific thing in regards to her having been just in this space.
Yeah. So I would say that she definitely wasn't running anywhere. You don't see any signs of a struggle, even aside from the purse being knocked over, which, I mean, purses sometimes they just fall over on their own. So if they were broken, it seems just that perhaps she tried to get up very quickly, but didn't get her feet under her, or something in the force of how they made contact with the ground caused the heels to break. But like, there isn't even a chair knocked over.
How much space is above? How much open space is there?
There's probably like 10 feet above.
And is there a booth above as well, or no?
No, there's only kind of one level of booths, and the only way to access them is they've got the curtains behind those seats that you can get in and out of. But
it seems a little odd for these shoes to just break like this.
We have a problem.
Hmm?
We should talk about this not here, because the periphery's coming. They're coming right outside.
Whoa, let's go.
We have beat feet. We got walk and talk. So sorry.
Now, as you all begin to leave and go, I will say Montgomery, this periphery officer that you've been speaking to, who I assume that you're just kind of trying to engage in idle conversation, just keep them occupied. As you all start to move and you try to extricate yourself from that conversation quickly, he does go like, "Hey, it was really nice to meet you. Where are you typically stationed? We should like hang out sometime. You want to get drinks?"
Listen, this case, it's gonna take a long time. I'll come find you, all right?
Yeah, we'll call you.
Don't get too attached. I live a dangerous life.
What was your name?
Oh, hey, yeah, Edmund.
Edmund Montgomery. Nice to meet you.
Why did you give him your real name?
I only have the one.
Edmund, please draw me like one of
I
your
lost
French girls.
every other name in the past ritual. I only have one.
And you all go. I would say it's easy enough to get out of here without being noticed. Especially, we've already established that where the stage door is. There are other exits that you can get to. So with that advance notice that you got from Karis, you're able to get out of here without having to make a check for it.
Exit stage left, not chased by bear.
Yes. What are you doing and where are you going, though, once you exit the theater?
With her ID still in my hand, I'm going to say home address, home visit. That makes sense, right?
Hopefully a good idea, yes.
And I will
Okay.
read out the address that says blah, 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 blah. And we're all familiar with this city and where blah, blah, blah is.
Yeah.
That's a
She-
great part of town.
Yeah.
She has a home in a very nice neighborhood. It's called the Eaves. It's just across the river from where we are right now. And so you could easily either go hop on a trolley car. There are these trolley cars that you can get on to, just hop on, hop off sort of deal. Or you could, walk or call a carriage. It's a little bit of a walk to get there. So a notable thing about the Eaves is that they are kind of elevated from the rest of the city because they are built on top of a bridge from Old Fair, which is the civilization that is here and was abandoned before New Fair was built on top of the ruins. And so there are only a couple ways up. There is a very long stairwell that you can try to climb in order to, get in stealthily. But there is a trolley car specifically. This is a trolley car that you have to pay a couple coins for, not that expensive, but a couple coins to get up to the building because of how high of a climb it is. And so you can go and have a chance to converse on the way as you make your way to definitely the nicest neighborhood in town. These are mansion-style houses. Anyone who is, an important person in New Fair probably has a house in the Eaves.
I think we all look at each other and we're like simultaneously, we're like, trolley car. Absolutely not doing that hike.
No, if things end up like last time, I have a feeling that we may need to conserve our strength for running.
Oh,
It's not going to
good thing I
happen.
wore my. Good thing I wore my running shoes.
That you're not going to need to use because everything is going to be fine.
Yeah, and
you just cursed us.
We've all been practicing, right?
I haven't been practicing. Not even a little. In my defense, you all actually have the magic. I merely pretend.
And you're excellent at it.
Doing a great job.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
As you go and get on the trolley car and have a chance, there is. I just recalled. Here's the thing about trying to keep track of a bunch of things at once is sometimes something slips through, and I owe y'all a helpful magic effect. So one of them actually did happen in the theater. I kind of enhanced Mercy's sense in what they were able to get out of that, kind of communing with the area. Give you a little more information there. So that's the first one. But the second one, you are due. It takes place here on the trolley car as you are, on and step in and are kind of. There's a place to sit. There's a place to stand. Do whatever you want to do. You get in. You get settled, and the periphery officer who manages it, turns it on and gets it going up. You have a couple of moments, kind of, observe and take in. People watching is so much fun on these things. And there are quite a few other people, probably going home for the evening after a night out in town. And you have this brief moment where, as you're sitting there, all of you see simultaneously, kind of down as you're just observing, past another person in the trolley car, out the window on the opposite side. Almost as if there's someone like walking up alongside the trolley car, but there's nothing to be walking on. It's like they're walking on thin air. You see what looks like this human, this person, older gentleman, probably 80s, hobbling with a cane, beside the trolley car up in the air for about 3 or 4 seconds, and then it's like he drops out of frame. Nobody else seems to see this. No one else seems to be looking out at the same time you are. But if you rush over and look, you don't see anything outside the trolley car. There's no person. There's no sign of a person. And so if you do rush over and look, a couple of the other people on the car nearby go, well, what is it?
Sorry, pardon me. Thought I saw something. Guess it was trick of the light. Trick of the light.
The spirits are lively tonight.
No trick of the light, because I also. Anyone?
That was meant for them, not for. Never mind. It just goes back and sits down. It's like,
Oh, you meant the non-weirdos. Me too. Trick of the light. Everything's fine. Totally normal.
Those people stop paying attention to us anyway.
just
like being on a New York subway, you just have to ignore it.
It's some like old lady, like, well, I never, and just kind of turns away.
Mercy just sighs. One day we'll get it. One day.
Eventually, the trolley car arrives at the top. You disembark and make your way to the estate of Miss Madeline Armitage. And as you approach, you see, beautiful architecture. It's got like a fenced garden in the front of the house, and you can see there's the outside light on, but it seems like inside there's not a whole lot going on. There's a couple of lights on inside, and not a whole lot of activity on the streets. Are you going to go up and knock on the front door? Are you going to try and sneak in? What's our approach?
Is there lights on in the building?
There are a couple of lights on inside. There's definitely an outside light on, like, you're expecting someone outside or doing something outside in the dark, but there's a couple lights inside.
She was a widow, though, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. You recall that.
Wonder who's home.
Servants.
Someone of her standing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
staff.
Do you think that they haven't gone searching for her?
Would
Has there
they
been
have
any
already been
announcement?
notified?
This only happened recently.
We also don't know if this is a normal occurrence for her to go out at this hour of the evening.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, she and her
They
husband.
Had long-standing tickets at the theater.
That's
So
right.
they used to do this a lot, and then she kept doing it after he passed. So they wouldn't be expecting her home right now.
Should we know?
I don't.
What,
I pushed
Before
my-
we do,
what story are
we
we
do
going
that.
to tell them?
I'm so sorry your lady mistress is dead.
that is
Surprise.
one angle we could use.
We
would
could just
be
tell the truth.
diplomatic.
We are investigating her death. We came to ask some questions.
But if they haven't heard, somebody's gonna have to console them. Maybe, if she was nice. Maybe not. Maybe they'll
Oh,
throw a party.
I could console them.
No.
I see no problem with this.
I'm concerned.
It'll be great.
I'm an excellent empath.
You know, nobody else stepped in for it, so you go for it, Una. You've got this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I will be on standby for when things get weird.
This little weirdo.
Yeah, because you know Una's gonna go in there and say like, well, yeah, something scraped her flesh from her bones and left them perfectly clean on the theater floor.
It was immaculate.
Even crabs have to eat.
Even
It was
crabs
like an
have-
operating room.
Then I think Mercy would like reach out before we do any of that. Maybe it's best not to illustrate the manner of Mistress's death. We don't know what the servants' constitutions might be. No.
or
If
what
they
might
are
know.
curious, let us be vaguely gruesome. Like, they don't want to know the specifics, which just alludes
Right.
to
Very good.
something.
Very good.
Una, you're up, girl. You're up.
It's a good point to not tell them everything, because who knows if some of them might know something that we don't. Everyone's the suspect, right?
It's true.
Well, sure. Except we do also know that it was an entity, not a person that killed her.
Oh, that's true. You do have that spooky ooky thing that you do.
Yes.
Okay, but hear me out
Spooky.
though.
Okay.
We're weird, and so we know that other people know how to summon things, so it's possible that maybe somebody summoned something, right?
That is a possibility. Very much so.
Because I mean, if it was just an entity, why didn't it attack everybody else in the theater?
That is an excellent point.
Yeah,
That does allude to it being
I make them all the
targeted.
time. Mercy, pay attention to me.
That is a very excellent point. So she was targeted.
Hmm.
But we don't need to tell them
I mean-
that.
No.
We
No.
can keep it loosey-goosey, easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Just like that.
Do people actually still say that?
We just
Every
did.
day, baby.
Apparently. Hmm.
I like this plan.
All right. It sounds like we have a plan. Who knocks
Indeed.
on the door?
I'll knock
I'm-
and then quickly get out of the way for Una.
Okay. All right. So you knock at the door. There's a moment or two. You hear footsteps on the other side, and then the door opens, and you see an elderly man. He's got, he's kind of balding, but he's dressed very nicely in a butler's cloak and nice formal wear. He's kind of hunched over with a cane, and as he approaches, he says, "Oh, hello. Can I help you?"
Good evening. I bring you sad tidings about your lady mistress.
And what is that?
She's no longer with us.
Wow.
I see. And you are?
My name is Laura. So very nice to meet you. And the rest of my acquaintances here, we are in the middle of an investigation.
I see. What exactly are you investigating?
The passing of your sweet lady mistress.
I see. That is most unfortunate. I suppose I'll have to find another job.
Yo, that's so real.
Oh,
That's
how,
legit.
how unfortunate. Let me just, I'd be more than happy to provide some comfort in this time. And then, like, we'll grab him out of the way and, like, trying to let the rest of the group in.
Yes, well, we'll also have to tell the rest of the staff, and how unfortunate.
It is so
If you-
cold. It's so cold outside. Maybe we can sit down and have some tea and possibly we can ask some questions.
Yes, of course. Well, I should go tell her guest that she won't be returning home.
Yes.
Oh.
It's a party.
Yes. Let me go and I'll fetch him. He's upstairs right now, and he'll begin to, very slowly climb the stairs and then point off. There's the sitting room. Feel free to sit yourselves, and I'll be back down with you in just a moment. And he begins to hobble his way up the stairs.
Yeah.
Do you need? Can I
and-
provide any assistance? Do you?
Oh no, I'm quite all right. I have got to get my steps in, and he continues up the stairs. And there's a moment as he turns and walks up the stairs that you all realize that this man that you see before you, the butler here. That's the thing. It doesn't look exactly like the figure you saw outside the trolley car, but like uncanny valley close enough to the figure you saw outside the trolley car that it doesn't feel like a coincidence. And I think that's also a great point for us to go and take our break, and then you have a few minutes to ponder it, and we can come back with a chance for you to talk about that revelation. So I think we're going to take a 10-minute break, yes?
Yes, my friends, we are taking a 10-minute break. As a reminder, for every $10 you donate tonight to the Palestine Children's Relief Fund, you're entered into a drawing to win a Talent and Claw gift card for $25. And again, we are supporting PCRF, who are currently focusing on providing immediate relief, including providing essential medical supplies, food, medical treatment, clean water, and other necessities for families affected in Palestine. So we will be back in 10 short minutes. Make sure you get some water, do some stretches, do a shrimp check, and come on back in 10 minutes. Bye. Hi, friends, and welcome back. Just as we were doing before we went to break, we are continuing to raise funds for Palestine Children's Relief Fund. If you go and check out the pinned chat in the Twitch chat or the YouTube chat, you will find our Tiltify link. Every donation that you donate through there goes straight to Palestine Children's Relief Fund. And while you're there, you might find some really fun donation incentives. Josh has made a plea, or maybe not necessarily a plea. He said it's a real shame that no one has donated to make the creature stronger. I don't think it's a shame at all. I think it's incredibly generous that y'all have been helping the players by giving us $10 rerolls, by giving us $25 auto successes. We had 2 stray magics that helped the party. So feel free not to donate $35 to make the creature more menacing. Or do whatever you want, do whatever you want.
I'm just saying, I feel like the odds are stacked against me here, right? Like, y'all are getting all this help, and little old me just trying to, do a murder with all my creatures.
Do you guys hear that? Do you hear this the sad little violin? Oh man. Wow, it's so faint. Oh no. Oh no. With that being said, I will kick it back to Josh to get us started on part 2 of this journey.
Yes, so the butler who you could swear you've seen before, or seen someone who looked awful similar to him before, goes up the stairs, and you have a brief moment all by yourselves here in the house of the widow, Madeline Armitage, who has just died a not necessarily grisly death, but every ounce of flesh on her body was consumed, and leaving just the bones and nothing else. You've got a brief second before the butler returns with the guest who was apparently waiting for her at the house. And what are you going to do?
Might you describe what we can see in the sitting room and adjacent rooms?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So there's this kind of entry hallway, and there's a stairwell that goes up. You've got a nice long runner rug that also goes past the stairways. It's a pretty wide hallway once you get past the immediate entry area. And you can tell that the hallway goes back to the kitchen. You can, in fact, hear the sound of someone. It sounds like working in the kitchen. There's kind of the clanging of pots and pans, and perhaps the aroma of something savory cooking. And you can see kind of off to your left, there's a sitting room, like a formal living room with very nice furniture, probably even a baby grand piano in there. And then to your right, you see what's more of a library sort of room. There's a little, bar set up, lots of books, leather, chairs for reading. This is definitely, a fairly upper class house, so to speak, if you've got an entire room dedicated to drinking and books.
The dream. I'd love to take a peek at the books that she was reading.
Sure. Go ahead and go take a look and give me just a quick, we'll say, survey. Give me a survey roll. Low stakes at this point. Actually, medium stakes.
Okay, I rolled a 1. And I just... I don't know if this is good enough for a reroll. I'm just going to let it slide. It's fine.
Okay. All right. So as you're looking, you skim, there are definitely some political books in here. There's nothing that seems out of the ordinary. Certainly nothing that catches your attention. It seems to be a collection of, encyclopedias and things like that. And as you are, kind of taking a look, You, while you don't necessarily notice anything, I would say you do get this, almost this like tingle up your spine, chills, this sense that you're being watched.
I see any birds around?
No, I mean it's there are windows here, but you look outside, it's pitch black. So you certainly don't see any birds out there. Although if you do, go and take a look out the window, you do actually notice very briefly. You can hardly make it out, but just out seems like maybe in the next yard over. They're kind of far away, but you do see two white dots, eyes that seem to be looking in at you through the window. And then just as quickly as you see them, they disappear. But I would like for you to mark a brain as this is a very kind of creepy and frightening moment, and it stresses you out. You can feel your heart rate kind of raising.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, I think we're being watched by something, because I just saw some little white eyes in the yard over staring at me, and when I made eye contact, they blinked away.
Might be best to close the curtains.
Do you think that the butler will think that we're weird for coming into the house and closing curtains? Or maybe we just say we don't want, the media, the paparazzi. She was wealthy to take photos of us while we investigate.
I think the second one.
Curtains.
Just while we're kind of having this conversation, I want to be looking for like any letters that she might have gotten. Like, I know usually how it goes is like there will be like a side table by the door where like their letters are put. So I want to see if there are any like unopened letters, and maybe I guess do some mail fraud.
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna say go ahead and make a focus check for me there, because it sounds like you're looking perhaps for something a little more specific. You're inspecting a pile of mail to see if you can glean a piece of information.
While Karis is doing that, Mercy is going to take off the glasses he's got on and reach into the pocket of his jacket and pull out an identical pair of glasses, but they are in fact his bleed detector. You go and, take a look around the room.
Yes. Okay. So, interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Okay. So, a quick point of order, actually. I seem to recall that we picked up the heels from the crime scene, but did we leave everything else? It was just the heels and the ID that came with?
I believe so.
Okay. As you look around with your bleed detector, it shows kind of just like this fuzzy aura anytime you see bleed. And you see just very like faint traces, just like little wisps passing through, but not. It's not. There's not a concentration of bleed anywhere, so it seems like something may have passed through in the past, maybe as recently as today, but there doesn't seem to be a source of bleed right now that you can see. But the kind of wisp of this bleed residue that you see had gone upstairs and had gone down to the hallway and into the sitting room and has kind of been in and around the house.
You caught exactly what I was gonna ask about next. If there might have been like a trace of bleed going up the stairs, kind of following behind the elder gentleman.
Sure. Would you like to try to, shall we say, sneak up the stairs in order to go and take a look around?
Ooh, my hide is terrible, as in non-existent. But I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. Why not? Why not?
You certainly could. I will just throw it out there. If anyone else has drives in cunning, they could spend a drive to give you a die. Or if you have drives in cunning, you could spend a drive to give yourself a die on this roll. So that way, instead of rolling twice and taking the lesser number, you could roll with dice. And also, you do have some, shared resources in terms of drives and automatic successes that you could take advantage of as well, to kind of help your odds here.
Okay, I'm going to just use the drive to keep myself from disadvantage, and let's see, 4.
A 4, so that's a mixed success. So, as you slip up the stairs, you are able to make it up pretty stealthily. There's like a slight creaking. There's a little bit of wood, but nothing loud enough to draw attention. You slip up, and following this kind of trail of bleed, it gets up to the top of the stairs and goes into what looks to be a bedroom. And so you go and hear, as you're heading towards this bedroom door, the sound of this butler and someone else walking now back towards the top of the stairs. So you have to choose very quickly. Do you want to go into the bedroom and get out of their way, or go back down the stairs?
I'm going to go into the bedroom, get out of the way.
All right. You hop into the bedroom, shut the door behind you before they round the corner, and are in there by yourself. It's dark. There is electricity in the house, but it is dark. The lights are off in this room, but you do just barely make out as you step in. There is a higher concentration of bleed residue, but no source of the bleed in this room right now. I'll give you a chance to keep looking through in a minute, and we'll come back to you. As you're in there, everyone else, you see that Mercy had gone upstairs, and then hear the sounds of footsteps and conversation as 2 men come back down the stairs. The butler, who of course you've already met, and another gentleman, seems to be probably in his 60s, but is dressed very well, has on a 3-piece suit and an ascot and a fancy top hat, and is just definitely very well off. And as this gentleman kind of rounds up to the top of the stairs and follows the butler down, he says, "Oh, I've been informed that our host is no longer with us. That's very unfortunate news, but I wanted to hear a little bit about it from the messenger, so to speak. What exactly happened?"
She died.
Yes, I presume that being dead means that one has died. But in what way did she die? Were you there? Did you hear about it after the fact? I'm looking for facts, not necessarily general statements.
It was truly awful. It was horrible.
Horrible that she died. So horrible that she died in the theater, watching The Magician.
Yes, of course, yes. We knew that she was in the theater. We were waiting for her to get back from the theater, so...
You don't seem too stricken with the news? You're a man of great resilience, it seems.
What I'm trying to get at is, what was the manner of death How did she die? I'm looking for the kind of information that someone who has actually witnessed a death might have, and not just, paparazzi coming to get a quote from someone in the lady's household. Can you prove to me that you were there at the scene of her death?
Pulls out the shoes.
All right, a pair of shoes. Nothing else?
I'm gonna look to make eye contact and like see if I get a nod or a head shake if I should produce the ID.
I just want to read this guy's. Like, he seems so there's like no real remorse over her being gone. Like, it just seems like he's what is the vibe? What's going on?
Absolutely. Give me a read check.
Time for
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Also, Josh, did I get any letters? I
Um,
used one of my drives and I got a 5.
yes, great. So, thank you so much for reminding me.
Mhm.
As you were flipping through, you didn't. So there was nothing that like immediately stood out as like, oh, there's something fishy going on or whatever. But you did see actually an opened, a small package that had been opened. There was nothing in the package; it was empty. But there was a note that came with it. That you just briefly skimming it. The gist of it was that this was, a gift from a man who admires her. There was a line in the note, something beautiful for a beauty like you. And it was signed by L. Holmes.
Okay, I'm gonna before they let's say before they come down, I'm gonna put that in my bag, like the box and the letter.
Sure.
Like tuck them in there so we can examine them maybe later. Okay, and that's all.
All right. Yeah, what did you get on that read check? I will say if anyone wants to help here by spending a drive, you're welcome to.
I am going to use one of my own drives as well,
Great.
so I can roll 2 instead of just 1.
Great.
I got a 6 and a 1.
6 and a 1. Well, it's a good thing you took that additional die there. Otherwise, it could have been real bad. So with a 6, well, you get a couple senses about this guy. One, he is very clearly a smarmy asshole. 2, he does not seem surprised at the news of her death at all. In fact, you get almost like you almost get the sense that he's quizzing you. He feels confident that there's something he knows that you don't know. And he's attempting to verify what you do or don't know.
Una's going to look over at Montgomery because Montgomery's being the face of our little group of people. I feel like she's going to give you a look. Just going to be and slowly turn around and then just kind of walk back and kind of allow you to take the maybe possibly.
I know what I signed up for. Yeah, no, I'll take a step forward. Madeline Armitage was murdered in the theater, quite gruesomely. And we wished to question some of the inhabitants of her house, her staff, her guests, to potentially find out any information as to any internal sources of foul play. Who might you be, my good man?
Could I also, while this is happening, I think Una is going to go back to the window. When the window is closed, you're going to open it. Could I potentially use one of my abilities, the ritual ability, I'm not sure how the remote viewing aspect of that works. So there's not a lot of details in the verbiage of it. It just says that you can either do a circle of protection to protect yourself, reinvigorate with a refreshing or resistance, and then there's remote viewing 1 moment. Don't really understand the language of that.
Yeah. So hold up. I'm going to look it up as we look or are talking here. I'm going to go and read it just so that I am on the same page with you. This is. I'm sorry. Give me the name of the ability one more time.
Yes. So it is the ritual ability is
Great,
part
okay.
of the weird roll.
Yes. Okay. So, yes, you may take a bleed mark to perform a ritual on yourself, and view something remotely. We can interpret that very broadly. What are you trying to view?
I am. I feel like Una is trying to focus on the way that this gentleman is speaking to pinpoint certain ways that maybe his breath is hitching, or like it's a connection to like the weird and like the occult side of like Una, but specifically with like the human aspect of how people even when they are masking, it's this person is masking, right? I think that's what it is that Una is trying to kind of listen beyond, to try and find little hints and triggers at like what he is doing. And so she is turning herself away and using that sort of ritual. She essentially makes a mark and a cross over her face. Her eyes go white as she starts focusing on anything to do with this man, from the moment of figuring out that there's something that he's hiding.
Gotcha. So you're more just kind of trying to like heighten your own senses in the moment. Yeah, we can absolutely, we can make that work here. I think that's very doable. So yeah, I think. Well, one, make sure you mark the bleed. In what way does this bleed affect you as you kind of allow this magic to come into your body to enhance your senses in this moment? What does that look like?
Yes, so her eyes go fully white as the conversation between Montgomery and this gentleman begins. And there is a little bit of like the veins, the red veins, kind of like peeking through. And there is just a little bit of blood that starts dripping down one of her ears.
Okay, yeah. So I'll give you a quick like synopsis of what you pick up from the interaction as we go along, as you kind of maybe pick up additional cues as we continue. So let's hop back to Montgomery here. You had asked who he was, and as you do that, he kind of smirks for a moment and says, "Well, actually, I think I might ask, who exactly are you? On what authority are you investigating? A death like this is the kind of thing that the periphery tends to investigate, and last I checked, I'm pretty sure if you're a member of the periphery, you have to announce yourself as such, and so by not announcing it, you are not a member of the periphery. Is that correct? You must be here on your own authority."
Begging your pardon, but who did you hear that from?
It's just common knowledge. Everyone knows that.
Common knowledge, is it? Everyone knows that the periphery must announce that the periphery come.
Yeah, it's how it works.
And Montgomery has like a very kind of like smarmy attitude as he's kind of like talking over and being talked over with this, and then he just goes, "We are investigators. We are summoned when things are pushed a little too far. I have seen things, sir, that would shake you to your core. that would send your very soul crashing and burning into whatever night might yet engender it until it was not even ash. And not even then would you witness the things that I have witnessed. I am Montgomery. I'm an inspector. Now please, share your name. It's only good manners.
Ah, well, since you've been kind enough to tell me everything I need to know about you, you could call me Lester. And I'm not convinced that this is Candela Obscura business.
And how would you know about that?
Oh, well, I think what I know is immaterial. I am going to, however, kindly have to ask you to leave the premises.
Were I not mistaken, you were a guest in this house.
Yes, and I think it is only appropriate that the staff be offered a chance to grieve in peace. And, well, if you want to come back and poke around tomorrow, I'm sure the staff would be willing to hang out another day. And he kind of looks at the butler in order to let you have a chance to poke around then. But in the meantime, I mean, they're grieving.
Clearly.
The butler's already filling out job applications. Which I don't blame him.
In this
Checking out
economy?
want ads in the paper.
As Una, as this is happening, you definitely like when Montgomery was going on that spiel about having seen things that would shaken you to your core. Like you definitely caught that this man Lester's heart rate seemed to increase. He seems nervous, maybe on edge. And he'll say again, so very kindly, I'm happy to leave with you, but I think we should let them grieve properly. If you don't wish to leave, we might have to call the periphery to come and remove you. It is, after all, trespassing, whereas I am a welcome guest.
Is it trespassing? We were allowed inside.
Well, I don't think...
And you are not the owner of the home.
Well, that may be. For now, at least.
Oh, really? So you stand to inherit this house?
Let's just say that I do, in fact, have power of attorney, yes.
Oh, so okay. So interesting that you don't seem very upset that she has passed, and now all of a sudden you're flaunting the fact that you have power of attorney over her effects. Pretty convenient for you.
If you want to try and pin this on me, you'll
I'm
have
not
to
pinning
work
it.
very hard.
I'm not pinning anything on you. I'm just pointing out a strange coincidence.
Yes, yes. A very astute observation. Good job.
Last name Holmes, correct?
Ah, I see at least one of you is cultured.
Yes.
Lester Holmes. Does that ring familiar?
You are very welcome to make a focus check for me to try and remember if you've heard that anywhere.
Josh, I'm going to save you time. I'm just going to use my auto success. I want to know
Great.
about this man.
Nice.
Great. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, with an auto success, yeah, you know who he is. you recall in your last mission as a circle, the ritual you were trying to stop was one that another organization that deals similarly with supernatural magical phenomena, particularly, the collecting and buying and selling of artifacts, was involved. And you're familiar with the Red Hand, is another similarly secret organization where it's mostly, the rich and powerful who try to use magic to become more rich and powerful. And Lester Holmes is a very well-documented member of the Red Hand. He has an extensive personal collection. And while none of you have ever, interacted with him personally, you are putting pieces together, and he is definitely the type of person who, even if he can't, control magic or summon creatures from the beyond himself, it's possible he knows someone or has something that could accomplish something to the same effect.
Yeah, when he says, "Oh, somebody's cultured," I just give him like a smile, doesn't quite reach my eyes, and say, "Well, I mean, of course I know the person who has the most impressive collection of artifacts in his possession."
Yes, well, if you'd like to come admire it sometime, I think we could probably pencil something in. But it's a museum, of course.
Of course.
No touching.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Good. Yes,
Artifacts like that are rare and precious. They should not be sullied by hands.
Yes, of course. Feel free to, speak with my assistant, and we can put something on the books.
I'll reach my hand out for a calling card.
Oh, if you know who I am, surely you know how to get a hold of my assistant. Her information is readily available. You can find her at my house most days.
I just didn't want to be presumptuous.
No, I don't keep calling cards on me.
While this conversation was happening, where is E?
I'm around, and I am not doing a good job at hiding my emotions.
Okay.
I don't like him. Power of attorney ends at death. So how is he actually inheriting this house? That's what I want to know. And also, he's an asshole.
I think
100%.
I think Una would, as Montgomery and Karis are having this conversation with Lester, Una kind of looks over to E, and you still see this ritual happening, but they sort of maybe whisper, you should speak to the butler or some of the staff while we wait.
Good call. And I will just slip away. Where is the butler and or the nearest staff member?
So the butler is still standing there, kind of at the base of the stairs, beside Lester. Otherwise, you presume the nearest staff would be back in the kitchen. You kind of have to go past the butler and Lester in order to get back that way. But it's certainly possible you could try to make a hide check and make it back to that part of the house.
We do that. I think I just want to say, can you remind me of the butler's name? I am so sorry. It has slipped my mind.
Don't think he introduced himself.
So then with that being said, I am going to go over to him and say, I would love to talk to you to see, if the lady had any, and I'm so sorry, the name is E. They call me Mr. E. Would you like to step over here to talk?
Well, Mr. Holmes seems to think you need to uh, leave the premises, but I'm happy to speak with you while you are leaving. And he kind of is looking over, like,
We're from the Midwest. This might take a while.
yeah, it's very clear that like there's a little bit of a power dynamic, and Mr. Holmes seems to be the next ranking authority that they would listen to, and or they're accustomed to taking orders from him. So he seems hesitant to go against what Lester says, but he's kind of engaged in, shall we say, a battle of the wits with some of your other circle members, and so isn't paying too much attention right now. And so you can get in a quick conversation with the butler.
I'm again terribly sorry with what's happened with the lady of the home. Do you know if she had any enemies or anyone who would wish her harm?
Not to my knowledge. She's fairly well liked and fairly well connected. I'm certain, her husband probably had political enemies, but no one would have it out for her.
Okay. Not even to get back at him, even in death? And I'm gonna kind of trail off and say, no, that doesn't make any sense. This Lester, he inherits the home?
Well, I do know that he and Miss Armitage recently went and updated, the estate, like the will and all of, her legal documents. None of her children are local, and so someone has to help, kind of manage things. And I believe that they went and got all of that paperwork sorted out somewhat recently.
Interesting. And now Lester stands to inherit the home. Well, that might mean that you might still have a job, buddy. That's incredibly exciting, right? Who needs to fill out calling cards for other jobs when you can just stay in the home that you already work in? Would we enjoy that, do we think?
Well, I've been working here for 36 years next week, and so I suppose it's easier than finding a new job.
And he seems like
teach
such
an
a
old
nice
dog new
fellow.
tricks. Well, Mr. Holmes is very fine. I think anyone with money can be pompous on occasion, but he's never, been rude or anything.
Okay, that's good. Between us, and I can accommodate this. You tell me your price. Is there anything that you would want us to know to solve her murder? We really want to apprehend them quickly and bring her justice.
Ooh.
Anything that Lester may have told you to keep quiet, to push under a rug, any weird magical things before the magic show.
Well, I mean, no, nothing. Certainly nothing suspicious recently. The only, magic in the house would be the collection downstairs.
Might I be able to take a peek at that? And I'm going to open up the wallet that I have that does in fact have money in it.
I promise it's money in here.
He kind of does like one of like these things, like checks his pockets and is like, oh yes, I'll have to go fetch the key for that. Perhaps well, I feel like that's the sort of thing that
Opening up some of the money.
There's no better magic than money. That opens every door.
You know, I
Total
heard
Matters understands that.
Lester might not want to keep the help. Might want his
Why
new staff.
Why don't you meet me by the back door in a couple of minutes once I've fetched the key, and he will say, "Oh, Mr. Holmes, I've forgotten something upstairs," and begins to hobble back up the staircase. As he begins to go back up the staircase, I do want to hop very quickly back to Mercy, because you have been in this bedroom for a couple of minutes now. Are you doing anything in particular, looking for anything in particular? You heard them pass and then go down the stairs, so you've now kind of got free reign of the upstairs.
Yeah, once I know that they're downstairs, I'll turn on or try and find the light switch and turn the light on, and so I can see a bit more clearly with my bleed detector, and see if it leads to any like weird phenomenon or object.
Yeah, so the kind of trail of bleed that you had been following leads to a jewelry box. There is a very nice ornate jewelry box. There's lots of gold and gemstones. This is a wealthy woman's jewelry box.
Sure.
And you see residue all over it, but nothing that seems to actually be the source of the bleed here.
I will very carefully. I will take out like a handkerchief, cover like one hand with it, and very carefully open the jewelry box to see what's in there.
Sure. Yeah. It's more like very expensive jewelry. Earrings, rings, bracelets. It looks like it could be worth a small fortune. But there is nothing additional that you're getting from the bleed detector. There does not appear to be anything here.
Okay. Okay, so there's nothing else in the jewelry box. I will close the jewelry box, and then I will lift the jewelry box up, still with that covered hand, to see if there's anything like underneath it, like kind of written on it, or on the kind of underside, behind it, like trying to be like as like thorough as I can while like not like really disturbing much.
Yeah, I'll say you can spend as much time as you want in here. There is not the source of the bleed in here. You are fairly certain that she probably went out the front door with the source of the bleed on her today when she left for the theater.
Oh hell. Okay. And then I will put everything back. I will turn the light back off and like very slowly like leave the room and try my best to like make it back down the stairs, or see if I can find like if Lester is still at the base of the stairs. I'd like to try and like see if there's like another staircase. Usually these large houses have kind of an alternate stairway that I could maybe go down and kind of avoid smarmy asshole.
Yeah, if you kind of look around, you do see that it seems like kind of in the back of the house there is like a servant staircase. It's more functional and utilitarian. It's not made out of beautiful wood and carved.
Sure.
It's a metal staircase, but you can easily get down and make your way back into this kind of like a service hallway. There's a room for laundry and a room for storage, and it connects to the kitchen, and you are kind of at the back of the house.
See any like traces of the bleed? I've still got those glasses on. Do I see any traces of the bleed as I'm moving in that direction towards the kitchen?
Nothing in this part of the house. You did see the trace of the bleed previously go into and out of the kitchen, but it seems like the only way that kind of trail of bleed went was up and down the main staircase. It did not go through this back way.
Gotcha. Okay. Then as I come into the kitchen, I will replace the bleed detector glasses with my normal ones and just kind of like, all right, cool. And just kind of straighten myself up and make my way. Is there another servant or staff member in the kitchen at all that I might be able to talk to?
There absolutely is. I will note, just because it's occurred to me, that before you took your glasses off, if at any point you had looked down at Lester, he is not the source of the bleed, but there is a much more prominent kind of aura of residue around him. You don't think that he directly did whatever may have happened. You don't think he's the source of the bleed, but he has certainly been in contact with lots of it recently.
Okay. I will definitely once I.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just had a quick question about that. Does Mercy sense any bleed coming from my bag, from where I took that package? The letter.
The same faint traces, but again, there's not a source. It was an empty package and a note. Yeah. So there's definitely, the aura coming off of it, but it is not any stronger than the rest of the kind of traces that you've been following around.
Cool. The moment like Mercy is kind of like around the corner, not quite to the stairs leading down, he'll take out the notepad and we'll like scribble that down really quick, and then put everything back, and then head downstairs and then do the thing with the switching of the glasses and all that stuff.
Great. And you can easily talk to someone in the kitchen. There is kind of a younger gentleman who seems to be cooking, and then also kind of a middle-aged woman who is in there assisting.
He is going to go to the middle-aged woman first. Excuse me, Miss young lady. If you don't mind, I have a couple of questions regarding your late mistress.
Oh, yes, of course. Certainly.
Let me express my deepest condolences on her passing. I'm told that she was a remarkable woman.
Oh, yes, we all loved her very much. She was as good to us as any boss can be to an employee.
Of course. I'm sure that you must be grieving at this point in time. I can't ask these questions, but of course, as an investigator, I am tasked with getting down to the truth, and I do want to solve the how and the why and the who did this to your mistress. Do you know of anyone who might stand to gain from your mistress's untimely departure?
Well, I'm sure he's a fine man, but I've never trusted, Mr. Holmes much. Always seems like he's just, out for himself.
Mr. Holmes being the guest.
Yes. I thought he was upstairs.
He is currently downstairs, speaking to one of my associates.
Oh, I see. And I will actually note that, as this has happened, he is still trying to usher you out of the house and is becoming increasingly, forceful for those of you who are still in the front area, trying to get you out of the house. I'll say it's not a very productive conversation, but if he's certainly like raising his voice and getting angry.
Well, that is so
Hmm.
coincidental because Una and I cannot hear that, as I have grabbed her gently, of course, and have started walking towards the rendezvous point with our friend, the butler.
Great. Great. Just want to make sure, is there anything in that interaction with him at the front of the house that you want to do, Montgomery or Karis, or are you like how are you playing that if he's growing increasingly agitated about trying to get you out of the house?
I think I'm just kind of playing a little bit dumb so that he's focused on me and not E and Una and Mercy.
Sure.
And
What's to our knowledge, he
whatever.
hasn't seen me yet.
Yeah. We're the only people here. What are you talking about?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I just want to get a sense of what's happening there.
Yeah.
If it's gonna, come to fisticuffs or something, I want to make sure that everyone else has a chance to join in. Should it do that? Since we are kind of getting close to the end of our scheduled time here today, I think, Mercy, what I will say is there's not much else you can glean from this conversation with this woman. She isn't trusting of Mr. Holmes, but she has nothing to go on aside from a gut feeling, really. And eventually, you perhaps see E and Una headed to the back door to meet up with the butler, who eventually appears a few minutes later.
Excellent. I'll just tell her, thank you for your time. Always trust your gut. My associates are here. I'm going to join them. Please excuse me. And once again, my condolences. And he will politely leave and join his companions.
Yeah. And she uses, like a kitchen rag to kind of dab at some tears, and turns and begins to speak to the gentleman who is cooking, who's kind of listened to this conversation and stopped what he was doing, but at some point turned back to finish what he was working on. It's like the pot began to boil over or something, and he had to turn and focus. So the three of you are able to meet up with the butler, and he says, "Oh, okay, so yeah, we need to be very quick, because the last thing I want is for anyone to know that I have gone into the basement, because it's strictly forbidden for any of the staff of the house to go in there. It's
Well, why don't you
Miss
remain
Armitage's
here?
only.
Why don't you remain here and we will just sneak our way downstairs?
Yes, but I'll have to return the key, and if I take the key out of the door, it will lock. And then you would be locked in.
It's not unlocked from the other side, then.
No, there is a key that goes in the door, and the key must remain in the door for it to be unlocked. Oftentimes, when the lady of the house goes downstairs, I am tasked to sit at the top of the stairs in order to keep anyone else from going down after her, and make sure that the door is locked promptly once she returns, since the key must remain in the door.
I see. Then we will be quick.
Yes, please. I would probably lose my job if I wasn't already going to lose my job, if anyone discovered that I let you in. And with that, he will produce a big ring of keys and an elaborate-looking skeleton-style key, and place it into the door and twist it, and the door, it doesn't have a latch on it. There's not a handle. He rotates the key and the door pops open slightly, and opens the door.
Immediately switching my glasses back again.
There is not like the trail of bleed that you had followed previously, but you do, even as you look down into the dark of this chamber, there's some stuff in here.
Immediately slide some money into his hand and say, "We'll be quick."
Yes, thank you for your donation.
And I will take the point and walk us down.
All right. As the three of you descend, you do find there's a light switch on the wall. It's kind of unusual, right? Like electricity is only in a couple of the neighborhoods here, but certainly not in someone's basement. I mean, that's the last place that you would put electricity in a house. And so this is kind of a shock for you to have electricity in the entirety of the house and not just in a couple of rooms. And so as you go in and turn on the lights, you see it lights up what is effectively this showroom. The interior is, for the most part, stone, but there are a couple of bookshelves with old tomes, dusty tomes on them. You see there are a couple of like tables with these glass cases on them, and inside you see various interesting and strange artifacts, objects. It's a stone over here that's got a unique coloration to it. It's got this kind of like swirl of blue that twists into it and seems to glow ever so slightly. You see what looks to be like almost like a piece of ancient technology. It's like a very rudimentary pulley, but it seems to have these runes etched onto it, and you're not certain what it does. You see a book with Old Faerun runes, the language of Old Faer, kind of in a circle around on the front cover, and pages falling out. You see all of these oddities, things that look like they probably belong in a archaeological museum or some kind of historical like library.
What is so
Very good.
dangerous about any of this?
I'm gonna
That's
put my
question.
hands on one of the circle things.
On one of the circle things.
Mhm.
Which circle thing?
The last circle thing you said?
So there was a book with
Book?
runes in a circle on the
Yep.
front cover.
That
You're
one.
just going to touch the book.
Yep.
Nothing happens.
Well,
It's a
damn.
little tingly, but it's a book.
Was there any
Could-
bleed seed coming
Oh,
from the book?
Oh yes. I should absolutely have said that. 100%. There are several books on the shelves that have trace amounts of bleed. Each of the three objects that I described in detail definitely bleed. Like, these are objects that have some kind of magic to them. The stone, the pulley, and the book. And there are some other things with bleed on them, around as well. A piece of artwork, some like stones that are kind of placed in a design on a table with some candles around them. There's quite a few things in here that are very clearly magic artifacts of some sort, or imbued with magic at the very least.
Could I make... Are we trying... Okay, so we're trying to find the cause of her death, right? We know that it's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Una's going to look at Mercy and at E both and say, how angry would you both be if I tried a little something to try and pull the phenomenon out, to come out and play?
Let me go to the top of the stairs so I can make a yell in case we need our friends.
I will stay here. I may be able to speak to it.
And I'm gonna go and just stand right at the top. And I think I'm gonna take the butler with me.
He's stayed at the top
Oh,
of the
okay,
stairs.
perfect,
He is
perfect.
not coming into this basement.
And I'm just gonna say, you looked real lonely, my friends. Just wanted to come and keep you company.
Oh,
And
sure.
I'm going to play the bait. It's the
Okay.
occultist specialty. I have to make a sense roll to bring a nearby phenomenon towards me. So I have 2 in sense, and I'm going to use 2 drives. Or actually, I'm just going to use an auto success.
Hell yeah.
My
Oh,
auto
okay.
success.
All right, auto success. So, with play the bait. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. This is actually a really
I think Una, her eyes were no longer white as they were coming down here. And to play the bait, what Una does is does another sort of like rub against her face, and then down like a symbol around the chest of her body, and then her eyes, instead of white, go red, like they're filling up with blood, kind of that blood in the water pulling in kind of the sharks as they're making herself, bait on the line for these whatever this entity is.
everyone in the house, no matter where you are, if you're upstairs, downstairs, whatever. The lights flicker once, twice, and then go out. You hear the lady in the kitchen give like a startled shock. And then at the front door, both Karis and Montgomery, you hear Lester, Mr. Holmes, say, "Oh no, this is not a good sign." And you hear footsteps receding. He is running farther into the house and away from you all. Downstairs, the temperature drops. It very rapidly becomes so cold that you can see your breath in the room, in this kind of museum chamber. But it's actually Montgomery and Karis who first get a glimpse of this strange creature as the front door flies open. And you see, walking in, Karis, it's the old man you spoke to in the lobby of the theater. Or it looks like him. It looks remarkably like him. There's something off about his walk. The joints are bending the wrong way. And then as you see him, he ignores the two of you completely. Not even there to him. As he walks down the hallway, you see almost like a flicker, like that of like the TV when it changes channels, a momentary like static flicker. And then you see a man in a top hat and a red cape as he is walking with a magic wand in his hand, strolling into the house. And then you see rounding the corner another flicker as this magician, you could swear that this is Donald Mathers in the flesh. Except there's something about his eyes, they just look dead inside. There's nothing behind them.
Me too.
And then you watch the form flickers again, and it turns into this little boy, child, and boots and rolled up overalls, who's got like a piece of candy, a lollipop sticking out of his mouth. He kind of skips down. It's almost like each time the boy skips, there's an impossible amount of distance that it covers. Each skip is 3-4 feet forward, and it's moving as if gravity is merely an inconvenience to it down these stairs. And emerging at the bottom of the stairway, I'll note the butler next to you, he just is out cold.
Good. I would have told him to get the fuck out of there. So fast.
Like he is collapsed on the ground. Not good.
Yeah.
What?
Bye.
Yes.
Nope. Nah. Can't deal with this.
As this entity continues down the stairs, I'll just ask very quickly, Karis Montgomery E, are you following? Are you running the opposite direction? What are you doing?
Pounding
100%
dirt.
following.
We're going after it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you said that the butler was collapsed on the floor, I'm going to drag him to a better location and then go downstairs.
Yeah, you can like drag him around the corner into the doorway, like of the laundry room, and then come downstairs. Una, you see coming down the stairs at you this little boy skipping with a lollipop, covering these impossibly long distances, and it reaches the bottom of the stairs, and it looks like he's about to, take this last skip leap towards you. And then you see for the first time, for all of you, those of you who are following behind and have seen multiple of these transformations, what you believe to be perhaps the creature's true form, as it has these gangly long arms and gangly long legs, as it lunges at you. And Una, all you see as this giant, fleshy creature that's probably 7 feet tall, but couldn't weigh more than like 100 pounds soaking wet with how thin it is. There is very little like muscle or anything. It is just a stick figure. But as it launches towards you, you see a featureless face open up wide into a mouth, gigantic gnashing teeth like the interior of a shark's mouth, as it launches itself towards you.
Okay.
I need you to make a move roll for me.
Oof.
Yeah. Okay. I have nothing in move, but I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use OneDrive
Okay.
for move. So it's just
This
a
is
straight
fine.
one roll.
Ooh.
Which one's gonna be nice to me?
I would like to point out we do have an auto success. That's a community. We have 2 of them. In case
Should I
you
use?
don't
Should I
wanna-
use it? Should I use it? Okay, I will use one of the community auto successes.
Great. That's
Actually, no,
probably a
it's-
very good idea. This is a high stakes roll. Failure means not necessarily death, but like extreme bodily injury to you
Yeah.
as a gigantic mouth clamps down on you.
I will use one of the auto successes.
Great. You are able to step out of the way and behind a table as it launches towards you, and it does not successfully bite you. You are still going to take a nerve, as this is an incredibly harrowing and stressful moment. And it occurs to me that probably everyone else, I think everyone takes a bleed from just seeing this creature and the unnatural energy that radiates off of it. And then your Mark and Nerve, Una, will be on top of that bleed. Yes, I see you have a hand up, Fair. I suspect it's because you have an ability.
Oh. Yeah. So I have let them in. Whenever you take
Yes.
one or more bleed marks, you also gain additional information about the phenomenon that harmed you.
Yes.
So I would like to know, like, is there a way for me to know what this creature is and how to defeat it, or how to make it go away?
Yes, you get to ask me a question. Is that what you want your question
Yeah.
to me to be?
Ooh, how do I make this thing go away?
Okay.
May I provide a piece of additional context that might be useful for both of you in regards to that answer? For my gear,
Yes.
I have a bleed containment vial, which
also
might
have
be
one of
useful.
those.
Cool. So we have those.
No, I have a
Mercy.
bleed. No, I have a. But I actually have a bleed detector right now. Actually,
Okay.
I don't have that.
Well-
the vial stocked.
I will give you your answer that you've asked about here. This is a creature, like a hunting assassin style creature. And there are, you know that there are certain things that give off energy that it can sense and track from very far away.
Mhm.
That are imbued with a certain type of magic. And so you know that there are two ways to get this creature somewhere, to move it, to get it to travel somewhere at your behest. And the first, it needs to have a target somewhere, prey for it to hunt or kill. And the second is you need to perform some kind of ritual to summon it.
Okay.
In fact, I'll even give you, as you think about that, the kind of ritual that you would need to do to summon it is very familiar. And you think about it for a split second and you realize,
Oh no.
oh, this is the creature that we let in last time.
Oh no.
Oh, you've come home. Come home to us.
And now there is this very intense moment. This creature is here in the room as everyone files into the stairwell. It has missed an attack against Una. It turns well, no. You're playing the bait. It's going to continue to go after Una. It is going to charge at you again.
Can I say, I know we have like hand weapons.
Yes.
Can I say that Una's is kind of like a hidden crossbow that like kind of comes out of her sleeve, and like she like shoots at this thing with like these tiny like darts crossbows.
Sure. You can absolutely do that. And it occurs to me that also Mercy, you should get a chance to make an attack. So let's do this. Mercy, you'll get your attack, and then it will go, and we'll see what happens at that point.
Well, Mercy is actually going to use his occultist ability called Speak Their Language. You can speak the supernatural language of any phenomenon you encounter, describe what strange or terrifying way you communicate with each other.
Oh, phenomenal.
So Mercy will turn to the entity, and much like Una, his eyes will like go completely black, and there will be like lines like ink coming from his eyes and like kind of moving over his face. The ink will then begin to spill from his mouth and kind of spill out, almost like floating in the air in front of him. And to everyone else, it sounds like two or more voices speaking backwards, like a record player being turned backwards. But to the creature, he's basically saying, "Incantus parlay. We must speak, you and I."
Okay, and so we'll say that this is happening as you're getting your attack ready, and you can do that here in a second, Una. As you see, it stops actually for a moment and turns to face Mercy as he addresses it, and its response is just like it kind of looks at you and cocks its head for a second, and then just says, "Hunger, kill, eat."
Who sent you?
You see Karis and like this.
Is that you?
Say, "I am not sent. I hunt targets that are marked."
Who marks your target?
I know them by the taste in the air.
Do you taste them now?
No. My target is dead.
Do you taste the one who marked your target?
It seems confused. Almost as if like the category of there being someone or something that marks a target for it, like, just isn't like a concept that it's familiar with, right? Like, it just hunts the targets. And when there's a new target, it kills the target. And it's never considered that targets come from somewhere.
You are being used. One such as you should be no creature's plaything.
And it doesn't have eyes. Well, not that you can see in this state, at least. But you get the sense that it's looking directly at you. And it says, "Then give me a target."
I forgot his name.
Lester Holmes.
Lester.
Seek Lester Holmes.
Damn, we really said it. Might as well kill that guy.
Eliminate target.
Eat the rich.
Eat the rich for real.
I mean, literally, in this instance, this is not how I expected this to go, for the record. I suppose that's what I get for making the villain a smarmy asshole.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Get rid of that guy.
And also we're getting rid of competition. This is like two birds, one stone.
Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. It kind of turns and sticks its head up in the air, and you see this pointed tongue like flick out and lick the air in the way that like a snake it tastes. And then its head like turns and snaps back up the stairs, and it runs out.
What a frighteningly beautiful creature.
Mercy turns to you with like all the ink like spewing out of him. His skin is a little bit paler, and then just coughs up all of the ink from him, just crying it out, and he goes kind of back to normal, but he's a little more like sickly looking. Oh, that's gross. That is. Did it work?
I listen for screams from Lester.
There's, like 10 seconds. You hear a very brief scream, muffled a little bit from the distance. It's cut short.
I think we're conspirators to a crime.
I didn't see a crime happen.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
We have to have a conversation when we get back to the bakery.
Sure.
Do you think Charlie's gonna send us to discover what happened to Lester Holmes? And we'll know the answer.
Well, we'll know the answer if she does.
Should we leave the crime scene or should we clean it up?
We should probably leave
Okay.
immediately.
I'm going to tuck some more money into the butler's pocket as we leave. I
Okay.
feel that's appropriate.
The butler is very well compensated. Okay, so you're just heading out, and shutting the door, leaving,
Nope.
not
Yeah.
touching anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Well, in the interest of time, because we've gone ever so slightly over, you make your way back to the bakery, and you presumably, do you tell Charlie everything about the incident, or is there anything you hold back?
Mercy will probably, at the very least, like confess his part in what happened. He feels an obligation there.
Okay. Including that you sent this creature to kill Lester Holmes, or at least gave it the name of someone that it could kill.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Just want to be sure. Yeah, Charlie takes in, all the story that you've given her, and the end says, "Well, I suppose we know two things now that we did not know when last we spoke. One, we know what killed Miss Armitage. That's a positive. And two, we know that Mr. Holmes will no longer be working with the Red Hand. Did you gather anything arcane in nature? Anything that we could use to track the creature down? Did you perhaps, do
Not
something to contain it, or is it just running amok right now?"
Not necessarily, but we have a very good relationship with our butler friend who does like money. So, we can provide money in exchange for getting back into that basement, very likely.
Indeed.
Yes, of course. It would be very good to secure those artifacts, since we don't know what they do. and presumably they could be dangerous.
Yes, yes, of course.
We
Should
should
probably try summoning it again.
Uh, we, we should probably also try to go and collect Mr. Holmes's collection before somebody else does. The Red Hand works quickly, but it sounds like that's been a rather harrowing evening for you all. So perhaps I'll have another circle go and recover those artifacts so you can rest and recover.
Probably for the best.
I think we did
And-
a great job. If you ask me.
Mercy will like
Nobody asked.
lean over. Wayne.
That was very fun.
I'm still not learning Greek.
And we'll say with that, you have successfully completed question mark your mission and know a little bit more about the creature that killed Madeline Armitage, and that's not bad. And you know what it was that you unleashed onto the world the last time your circle failed a mission. This time it's a C-. That's
Hey,
pretty good.
C's get degrees.
C's get
Hey.
degrees.
Passing.
If you love something,
Passing
if you
score.
love something, you set it free.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
All right, friends. That was fun. Let us tell the
Yes.
people who we are, where they can find us. Let's start with Farron.
Hi, I'm Farron. You could follow me on socials at Fairbear. Saturdays, you could find me over on D&D Journalese channel, 3 p.m. Eastern for Ampistrano, a homebrew D&D 5e campaign. You can also hear my voice on Taking Initiative's 3rd season, which is a Pathfinder game called Sword and She. I have some other projects and stuff coming up, so keep an eye on my socials. I also stream on my own channel. So if you like silly Baldur's Gate shenanigans, you should absolutely drop me a follow there. And I'll popcorn over to Angie.
Hi, thank you. So I'm Angie, they, them pronouns. You can find me at Agonthetic on socials. And then Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm over on Tales Archived at the Known Realms Tolesh D&D 5e homebrew campaign. And also you can soon find me on Fat House RPG with Embers of Rage. We would have premiered tomorrow, but we are not going to be premiering due to the boycott. But soon, Embers of Rage over on Bad House RPG. It's a Werewolf the Apocalypse, full Latina table werewolf bikers campaign, and I'm so excited for that. So come check us out. And I'm gonna popcorn over to Sphinx.
Hi there. I'm Sphinx Akasha. You can find me on TikTok at Circle DM. Sphinx Akasha just about everywhere else on the internet. You can find me on Tuesdays and Wednesdays with Dinner and a Game as we run Emerald Sanctums, which is our World of Darkness open world campaign set in the city of Seattle. There's also Kingdoms Mist on Wednesdays, which is our D&D 5e based in a world that was inspired by Treasure Planet. On every other Friday, you can find me on ADH Adventures running my own campaign, Agents of the Circle. It's an Eberron 5e homebrew. We're in our 5th and final season. The cast is in the 36th chamber of the Temple of the Wu-Tang, and all manner of ridiculousness is ensuing. So come and check that out. On Saturdays, we switch back and forth on ADH Adventures between Heroes Arc and Unlicensed Magic War Crimes, and on Sundays, we play The Tale That Never Was, which is kind of a time travel-y, dimension hoppy kind of 5e game. And I've got some other projects coming up as well, so stay tuned and be on the lookout for that stuff. Oh, and I'm gonna popcorn it over to Dylan.
Hello, I'm Dylan H. Ford. You can find me everywhere on the internet as Dylan H. Ford. I am doing a lot of different projects, some of which are premiering this week due to the strike. Please consider donating more to the Palestinian Children Relief Fund. I do video game streams. I do TTRPG streams. I do a Warhammer podcast bi-weekly now. I'm doing too much. And it was just a lot of fun being able to hang out with everyone here. It was a lot of fun being able to do something a little bit in a weirder sense. And I'm gonna popcorn over now to Josh.
Yeah, it's been a delight GMing for you all. My name is Josh Simons. You can find me on the internet everywhere at Joshua M. Simons or on my website, joshuamsimons.com. I'm the community manager at Demiplane. We make digital tools for tabletop games like this one. If you thought that was cool, you can come and check it out and make a character and get the books and look up all the rules online. It's a lot of fun. I want to echo what everyone said. It's been great raising money for this cause. Please do continue to, speak out and support in financial ways if you can, but even just, promoting posts on social media, sharing them, and just making sure that Palestinian voices are not being silenced is, I think, really important. I do also want to just very briefly mention, it is also Black History Month, and we can recognize that there are multiple things happening at the same time. So do also make sure you go and you'll get in touch with your local civil rights organizations, stay informed on what issues you can vote on in your state, country, local governments. And also, it's Black History Month. Go learn something that you don't know. Watch a documentary, read a book, look up some academic papers. I don't know. There's lots of ways to learn history. Find one that works for you and do it.
And that leaves me.
Y'all wouldn't have brakes in your cars without us. Remember that.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone who watched, who donated, who boosted the stream. We have so far raised $510 for Palestine Children's Relief Fund, and this channel will be continuing this particular fundraiser on Thursday at 6:30 PST while we finish up an Animon game. So come and check that out in March. There are two really big streams that are happening, not only on my channel, but also on TTRP Gifts. Jorge has an amazing lineup. We've got an amazing lineup, all to support Palestine and the relief efforts going there. So please keep those on your calendars. Thank you, Josh, for GMing this fantastic game. Thank you to Farron, to Angie, to Dylan, and to Sphinx for playing. This was an absolute blast. I enjoyed being weird with y'all. And with that being said, we are all going to go to bed. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not your dad, but we are getting out of here. See y'all later. Bye.
Unkshu or me.